Welcome, Dr. James, back at Sports Card Insights. This is the second part of the Nat Turner. Again, I've made a choice to have 15-minute episodes, but sometimes guests, many times guests are interesting enough that they carry over, and I don't want to lose that good content. So here's the rest of the dueling questions with Nat Turner. I hope you enjoy. Thanks, sponsors, Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, ComC.com, Burbank Sports Cards, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Huggins & Scott Auctions, Heritage Auctions, and Pops Panini and Upper Deck. So here it is. Hope you enjoy. I enjoyed it.
What can the grading companies do better? And what should we all be doing, not just PSA and Beckett? What should we be doing differently over the next few years to improve the hobby?
There's a book called Co-opetition. It's the combination of cooperation and competition that entities in a space, subject to antitrust and all that stuff, would help to clean up the industry. That's in everybody's best interest. I think Jeremy is talking to Steve, the presidents of at least BGS and PSA, informally, but it's just good business that we help clean up the industry. I don't want to see PSA stub their toe or anybody else. I want to see the bad guys get caught. That's the main thing. You can't coordinate pricing, or schedules, but policing the industry and, like you said, helping to educate the public and training good graders to be able to give good turnaround, good service. Grading is a very important part of the industry. Okay, there's a Judeo-Christian concept that applies to marriage and partnerships, and it's called equal yoking. And it goes back to oxen. Okay, so if you have a wife, not that she's an ox or anything, but two oxen are yoked, and they need to be going in the same direction and at the same speed. Otherwise, there's some serious chafing, okay, and stress and strife in a marriage or in a business partnership. So my question to you is not about marriage, but you have some significant partners, significant investors in your thing. I've heard your story about being opportunistic and loving what you're doing. The hobby takes great solace in knowing that you're even now CEO and seemingly the managing partner. But to what extent are these other pretty big hitter partners, are you equally yoked with them? Are they trusting you? Or are they deep down kindred spirits in going at the same pace in the same direction, so there won't be this chafing of partners?
At first, I was worried my wife planted a question with you. I don't know how she did it. It's a really great setup. Honestly, I'm very lucky to have the investors we have. They're not private equity. They're not buyout firms. They're very long-term oriented, largely family office type capital that, frankly, if it takes us 10 years to provide liquidity to their investment, that's fine. It's a really long-term oriented group of people. I'd be lying if I said they were card fanatics, by and large. I think they're big sports fans, Steve Cohen in particular, who bought the Mets, as you probably know. Dan Sunheim, who runs D1, is a huge supporter of collectibles. He's a large art collector, which is well known. He does have some cards that I've guided him on purchasing to get him into it. My plan is to do the same with Steve. But the investor base is largely concentrated in those two individuals. We have a number of smaller investors that are collectors, folks like Ken Kendrick, number of athletes who are collectors themselves. But the point is, it's a very trusting setup where I'm certainly in the operational hot seat to make sure things happen. I report to the board is comprised of those two gentlemen I've referenced, and it's a great partnership so far.
Okay.
Yeah. You mentioned a couple things that I would say make you nervous about the next few years earlier. I'm curious, provides you, I would say, hope or optimism, or as this industry doubles, hopefully, as we discussed, what are the things that get you really excited that you're seeing that you think could really bring this hobby forward?
What's happened since COVID is that people are very afraid, but apparently their passion for sports cards exceeds their fear of COVID, even in Chicago, Illinois, which is different than Texas. So what we've seen in this year and a half is that even in the absence of sports, collecting is fun, exciting, and profitable. You've got also a situation where people have realized that even if you don't get together in person, you can still have a virtual show. It's still the Wild West. Everybody does what they want to do. There's an awful lot of content being produced. Not all of it's 5-star, but it's a lot out there. Some of it's churning, but some of it's sticking. There's some people with huge followings that are doing exciting things. It's like the funnel has been very widened at the top to draw people into the industry, and we've got to help them not. And what it's caused are all these bottlenecks. ComC has a huge bottleneck in their shipping. PSA, BGS has a huge bottleneck. That's frustrating, but it's the better problem to have. On the other hand, if a year from now we're still talking about that, that's why you took bold action to try to fix that problem. Again, the better problem to have. So at the National in Atlantic City next summer, if another half of the people coming there are new to the National, like they were in Chicago this year, that would be fabulous. The National has been underrepresented on the East Coast for almost forever. And so I'm really excited about that. We're not at the point where the industry quite at the level to do national advertising, I don't think. And yet the word of mouth that we're getting is priceless, and the media attention, which is generally very positive. And so I don't want cards on every street corner. They're omnipresent. They become commoditized, which happened when you were
in the 80s, yeah.
Boy, that was not good. It's still tough to find them. You've got a really good chance of getting something exciting and dynamic out of the pack, and a lot of bragging rights for social media, flexing. A lot of that's positive. I don't see that stopping. I've also quoted, if card prices doubled overnight, half the people would be happy and half the people would be sad. If prices dropped in half overnight, a different half of the people would be happy.
That's right.
And a different have to be sad. So I think cards and memorabilia always were kind of inflation-proof, recession-proof, economy-proof. And what we've endured over the last 2 years has been counterinstinctive, but I think bodes well for the future. Okay. I've done, and not picking on you because you seem to be in really good health, but I've done a bunch of mortality episodes, and generally they're with older guys, of what is the preparation? Did they have any plan in place? As I've seen some of my contemporaries, new people younger than me pass away, even a guy that was at the National that I saw there, and nobody lives forever. But my question to you about that is that I don't think you're going to die in the many decades. But if you did, you'd have big shoes to fill. People would be eager to take on your collection, but I don't know if there's a plan there. And you're not just an owner of PSA and Collectors Universe. You're a driving force there. What fills the void? What happens to your collection, and what happens to your business interests if something happened to you? Again, not to speak in Collectors Universe, people were so excited that you were, your other esteemed partners and investors, they were great, but you were the key guy. And there's no amount of key man insurance, I don't think, that covers that. Do you have a succession plan?
Well, I would say Collectors Universe will be just fine. We are recruiting a number of great people in. That's probably more than half my day is just interviewing and networking and getting to know people that could add value to the company and the industry. We've made a lot of big hires in the last few weeks. We had 2 really big ones this week that we'll announce soon. I've only been in the seat for 4 weeks, so a succession plan hasn't been on the list, but I think we'd be just fine. As far as the collection, I would say any organization, to be honest, at a certain size can survive any one person leaving. I don't care if it's the CEO or anybody.
No one is indispensable.
That's right.
Can be highly valuable, but if you're indispensable, you're either a one-man shop or
collecting wise, I'm doing everything I can to get my 2 children excited about cards. They're 5 and 3, and my goal is to have them carry it on. We'll see where that goes. I know a lot of friends who are collectors whose kids have no interest, and you can't tell your kids what to like. And I've learned that. My son's really into 82 Donruss, and it's funny. It's not because of the cards, but it's because of the puzzle pieces in the packs. I got work to do. The last question for you is card companies went exclusive with the leagues years ago, 2012, actually, in basketball. In my opinion, as a collector, a lot of things changed from the 90s, and again, where I'm very biased. So how has that affected the card collecting community, and where do you see that going over the next few years from the manufacturer's perspective?
I used to have a lot of contact with the licensing entities, and the teams, the leagues, have a completely different perspective than the players' associations in terms of their horizon and the way they look at things. But they may reevaluate. Maybe it's in their interest to open it up a little bit. Having people that are responsible for growing the category. I'm an American capitalist. I think that competition is good. It brings out the best in people. You know, I never wanted to be the only game in town. I just wanted to be the best. And I figured if I do the best job I can do, let the chips fall where they may. I'm gonna do so. This restricting competition, I won't say it's un-American, but I don't like it. So I don't know what I can do. What you may find is that the NFT world and some of these other disruptive elements, cryptocurrency, and the globalization of things, is that not everybody plays by American rules. So you could see some, not anarchy, but like I say, there's nations out there and parts of the world that don't play by the same rules. So that'd be interesting. You can't cease and desist in certain countries. Finding out now about Afghanistan, it's all bets are off. So with digital products, and it can be chaotic. I don't like chaos, but if it's a physical product, I like your situation of being with PSA, because I think it's a physical product. There's a real strong desire to get third-party authentication and grading and evaluation, and BGS will get a big share of that as well. So I'd love to see it open back up now.
Me too.
I don't even think they want a debate on it, which I think part of American cancel culture is I don't want to hear from the naysayers, when in reality, in high school debate, you really wanted to have an even stronger understanding of your opponent's position than how you originally leaned, so that you would understand why these decisions are made. If they were to be open to it, just like the co-opetition between PSA and BGS, I think if Panini and Topps and Upper Deck could cooperate a little bit, stay out of court, not help each other, but help build the categories.
Yeah. I'd personally love to see Topps Chrome rookie cards again in basketball.
Cut them a deal. It just seems like there actually could be a fair amount of money involved. But I think too much of cancel culture is so worried about a slippery slope when, like you're saying, don't have a goal. Do the next right thing. The right thing might really get the hobby energized. I'm totally with you on that. We're on the same.
Yeah.
But we don't get a vote.
That's right.
Get a vote. You actually do get a vote for your entities. And I have some influence with my former company, but not probably as much as I think.